Welcome to another episode of the Horrific Podcast. We're two friends who live in different places but share a love for scary movies. In each episode, we both watch the same movie on our own and then record a conversation together later about what we liked, what we hated, if we were scared, and maybe even some larger truths about why people watch horror movies in the first place. The theme of this season is Back to Business. The past couple of seasons have involved deep dives on horror history, and this time around we're taking it easy with all of that, and instead focusing on talking about what is most interesting to us in each of the movies that we watch. So kick back, relax, and enjoy it with us. So we're barely even into season 17, and we're already dropping a bonus episode. And this is very clearly intentional and not due to the fact that we didn't think through the timing on some things, and also kind of as an apology for posting this week's episode late.
Well,
completely according to plan and on schedule.
Listen, that's just how we do things around here. We flow like water. We just fuck up sometimes, though. But yeah. Also, like, okay, we pay for this shit. We're not getting paid for this.
Oh, I'm paying for it.
That's true.
Yeah. But anyway, it is October 2024, and we're in the midst of the Back to Business season, where we're just kind of digging into the stuff we like and talking about what in it is interesting to us. And we were both kind of caught up in the hype around Terrifier 3, which comes out this month.
Yep.
So the next couple weeks, we're going to be doing episodes on movies in the Terrifier universe and talking about what we want to see or expect from Terrifier 3, which, as it turns out, came out last Friday.
Yes. We're good, dude.
Yeah. So to make up for that, I went and saw it in a theater last night like a grown-up.
Did you eat popcorn for dinner?
I did, and I ate too much, and my stomach hurt when I woke up this morning.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Exactly. Again, just like an adult. So yeah, I saw Terrifier 3, and I can tell you I enjoyed it. It was fun. There were not very many other people in the theater at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday. But yeah, it was a good time. So I figured, since we've kind of been doing this interview each other about the movie at the end of the episode thing, we could just do a quick Lucy where you do some interviewing of me about Terrifier 3, and we're going to keep it spoiler free. So if you haven't seen it yet, we're not going to ruin any major plot points. But also, like, if you don't, if you're going to pretend like you don't know who the main character is going to be or something, like, yeah, that'll get spoiled because it's Art the Clown.
Yeah. Also, just take it easy, people. So, real quick, how do you feel like Terrifier 3 compares to the previous films that we've done? The previous Terrifier and All Hallows Eve.
So I personally thought that Terrifier 3 is probably the best movie end to end of all of them.
Okay.
I think that it managed the pace better than the second one, and it was on just such a bigger scale than the first one. The budget was clearly much, much higher, and so it was just able to do more.
And that was the thing that was kind of cool, like what we talked about in All Hallows Eve, how, like, you could almost kind of see, like, the budget helping as the films go on. Like, with All Hallows Eve, some of this blood special effects was a little rough. Yep. But, or not rough, but just, you know, it looked super fake. And as it went on, it seemed to get better. So that's exciting. I'm glad that's the case. Was it too Christmassy?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think you would actually
Christmas horror.
I kind of would, and I would say it. There was one scene in particular towards the middle that takes place in a bar that is decorated for Christmas, and I'm not going to say any more about it, but it's one of probably my favorite horror scenes I've seen in quite a while, and was also just a good Christmas horror moment. So even that scene clipped on its own, I feel like would just be kind of a perfect Christmas time horror thing to have on in the background.
That's awesome.
Right up your alley.
So I actually read where Terrifier 3 has made more money than Joker 2, for the record.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of memes about that, talking about like, yes, a scary clown movie at the top of the box office, just like we all predicted, with the idea being that it's not Joker 2.
Yeah. Which I haven't seen, so I haven't seen either, but I just thought it was interesting.
I was going to say neither has anyone else, but
yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think of Art the Clown in this film? Did you think he was he any more unique? Was he more scary? Was about the same? I can't ask that question.
Yeah, there are some things that I would like to talk to you about Art's portrayal in this one, but I don't think we can do that before you've seen the movie, just because I don't want to spoil it. Like there are some
changes.
The way that he acts in the movie changes over time, and that's a thing that I would like to discuss with you more, but I'm not going to do that till you've seen it.
Okay. Works for me. Next question. Oh, this is hard. I wrote these not spoiler free. Did the movie introduce any new creative elements or themes that kind of surprised you? I mean, I know Christmas. I don't know if that was a surprise. It was in the trailer.
The gore was even more convincing, and like the violence was even more convincing than in Terrifier 2, which is saying something. So I think that it felt like a lot of the killings and like the brutality were a little bit more like set up and staged for impact. So it was like very deliberate and very graphic when it happened. And so that's kind of probably as much as I would want to bring up.
Yeah. Were there any like new characters? Were there any new characters added to this that you liked or disliked?
So there was a prominent ally for Art.
Okay.
And I really, really wished that I had made good on my previous comments that no one else has heard yet in our episode on Terrifier 2, where like I really wanted to go back and rewatch the first two. This was just kind of like a last minute thing that worked out, so I got to go. And I did not rewatch the first two, and so there are some details of the story that I was a little confused on.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but one thing I did want to bring up is we will talk in the Terrifier 2 episode coming out in a few days about how in Terrifier 2 there were a lot of like these weird loose ends of the plot and how the story kind of went all over the place, and we thought it was probably a lot of setup for Terrifier 3. I feel like Terrifier 3 was a little more like character development and a little less try to jam in a bunch of plot elements.
Okay.
And so it was not what I thought it would be as far as like this giant reveal and kind of bookend to this much larger story. It was almost like they toned that down a little bit, but did it in a way that I didn't find frustrating. And so I feel like mostly the story helped the movie and kind of kept things moving and interesting, more so than like really they're just trying to rush in the ending to some like epic saga that they've been setting up.
Okay. So you kind of answered this question, but without giving like specifics, did Terrifier 3 add more like depth or lore to the Art the Clown?
I don't think a whole lot.
Okay.
But it most definitely did, I think, set up for a Terrifier 4.
So I only had one question I was going to ask you. I was trying to figure out a way to ask, like, without spoilers, do you think it'll be a Terrifier 4?
Yes.
Okay. That's exciting, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could ask more. I'm down to ask more, but I don't want to pigeonhole you into not being able to share any information.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting pretty close to where we wouldn't be able to say too much more without providing spoilers. So, yeah. But I think just my general takeaway is, from a brutality standpoint, if you could hang with Terrifier 2, you can hang with Terrifier 3.
Oh, okay.
But it does go hard. You know, like, Be Under No Illusion. And seeing it in the theater was really kind of it felt like a different experience, just because I'm not used to that level of gore on a screen that big with surround sound. Like it was a noticeably different experience to be able to see it in a theater as opposed to at home on my couch. So yeah, overall, like, I'm glad that I went. I thought it was enjoyable. I feel like they, maybe it would have been different if I was at home and I could have like checked my phone during the slow parts or something, but I felt pretty into it the whole time. Like, it definitely kept my attention, and it felt like it dragged a little bit at the end just because it kind of kept going, but it is over 2 hours long, and it didn't feel as long as other movies that we've watched that have been not that long.
Is this your first Terrifier film in the theater?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like that'd be, I mean, I haven't been in a theater in ages, I feel like, but I feel like that would add to it for sure. Yeah.
And I just have to say, like, the temperature yesterday dropped by like 20 degrees, and it's been real cloudy and a little bit windy. And so going from that weather to watching this movie with Art the Clown as Santa Claus for part of it, and Christmas lights and decorations everywhere, it's just really starting to feel like fall finally. And I really enjoyed everything about my experience. So your mileage may vary, but if you're into like extreme slasher kind of practical effect, disturbing type movies, this should be right up your alley.
Very nice. Yeah, I honestly can't wait to see it. I actually tried, sometimes they put out movies for streaming early, and you just have to pay a chunk of change for it. And I was going to do it yesterday and be like, yo, surprise, we can talk about it. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't, because we're going no spoilers, but also I just couldn't find it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is one that we will definitely come back to. Like I said, the next couple of weeks, we're going to do other movies in the Terrifier universe. But I wanted to just get this out there in that I think one of our big takeaways from Terrifier 2 was that it felt like a much bigger, more well-funded version of the first one, but without like losing kind of what made it dark and gritty. Yeah. And I feel like I can say exactly the same thing about this one. It's bigger, it's better made, but it is still pretty true to all the things that would make you want to go see it after seeing the first couple.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to see it.
And that's it for today's episode. If you've listened this far, then thank you, and we hope you've enjoyed it. We're always looking for new ideas, so if you have any questions, comments, or movie suggestions, please send us an email at thehorrificpod@gmail.com. Or hit us up on the IG. That's what the kids call Instagram. Just search for The Horrific Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Sorry, I finally found when I was editing the podcast on Tuesday, how I was like, I wrote down the thing. That was either go commando or buy underwear. I'm tired of hearing about your chapped ass. I saw it and I started cracking up. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
But why can't I have the worst of both worlds? AKA boxer briefs.
That's true.